focus. Ideate, innovate, enable. Intel Xeon and Moneycontrol present Envisioning the Future with AI, security and cloud united.
Hello and welcome to Intel, Xeon and Moneycontrol present Envisioning the Future with AI, security and cloud united. I am Reema Tendulkar. In today's digital landscape, AI emerges as the catalyst for unprecedented change, reshaping industries and daily life. Fueled by the expansive computational strength of cloud, AI navigates vast data expanses, extracting crucial insights that propel our evolution. Anchored by robust security, this partnership safeguards data integrity and confidentiality. As AI, security, and the cloud converge, they lay the foundation for a future brimming with possibilities. AI's exploration, fueled by cloud's computational prowess, unveils transformative discoveries. With fortified security, this collaboration ensures data protection, paving the way for an era defined by innovation and pioneering progress. And to shed more light on this, we have with us Vikram Chauhan, Director, Head Enterprise and Govt Business at Intel, and Mohit Kapoor, Group CTO, Executive Board Member, Mahindra Group. Gentlemen, thank you very much and welcome on the show. Let me start, let's break up this conversation into four key topics. One is cloud, one is Industry 4.0. The third one, we'll talk on ADAS, SDV, particularly for the automotive segment. And the fourth one will be generative AI, right? The new buzzword of 2023. So let's talk about cloud. Mohit, you've publicly stated that in the next 2 to 3 years, 75% of the group, Mahindra Group's workload will be on cloud. You've already started on this journey. What's been the progress so far, the journey, and the challenges that you've faced?
Thank you for inviting me to the show. Great to be here along with Vikram and you. I think the cloud journey for us aligns very well to our purpose. At the Mahindra Group, we are bound by a common purpose called RISE. RISE is all about inclusion, equality, ethical conduct in the business, and also around sustainability. RISE is also around customer experience, innovation, technology to create a lasting impact. And the cloud journey so very well aligns to RISE. With the cloud and the flexibility and the scalability, resilience, security, we are able to drive innovation in a high speed. And you're right, around 2 years ago, we declared that in 3 years, we'll be 75% on the cloud. And we've already achieved that.
You've already achieved
it? We achieved that. We are beyond 75%. We moved our large ERP, SAP, which is by far the largest installation in Asia, also on the cloud. And that has opened up enormous amount of digital estate for us to engage the customers better, use our data better, and be a lot more predictable. That's the advantage of the cloud, that it's about predictability. You have to predict events, you have to predict customer experience and drive deep, meaningful relationships. So whether it's the product, like connected cars, which connect to the cloud, or it's digital estate, like mobile apps or portals, or it's data, all of that running on the cloud makes it resilient, secure, and we're very well on the journey. And for us, cloud is not a destination. Yeah. It's just a way to drive innovation, inclusion, be sustainable, and be meaningful for the customers.
So give me 3 tangible benefits that you've seen in the last 2 years as you've transitioned to cloud, and then also any challenges that you faced.
I think security is always something, a paramount consideration. It is equally applicable to be on the cloud or on-prem. So I would rate that as the first. Second is around re-architecting the apps. If you lift and shift apps to the cloud, which are not meant to run on the cloud, they don't necessarily perform the way you want it to perform. And the cost may overshoot as well. If you read many articles, you would see cost overrun being declared as one of the reasons. So you have to be very smart about how you transform apps to the cloud. And hence we have taken a re-architect, re-engineer, rewrite the code to make really cloud native apps, to embrace automation, to embrace open source technology, to embrace containerization and automation in a big way. So that's a tangible way where resilience, scalability, I'll give you a great example. Last year, we were launching our Scorpio N, which is a leading automobile. We knew it is very popular. And how big can it be when we put it up on sale? for the first time, right? And this couldn't be done anywhere else but on the cloud. And when we put it up on the sale, around 50 lakh people were trying to book the car, right? And the first 1 lakh cars were booked in 30 minutes. You can't do this on-prem in any other way. The only way to do it is on the cloud because it can auto-scale, it can give secure access to customers who really want to buy your product. So in some way, cloud is the only way to go for us, and that's the way we've been working on.
Vikram, you all have large conglomerates like Mahindra as your clients, right? They have a multi-sectoral approach. They have a rural, urban-centric approach. Their business is on private, public, hybrid cloud. How does Intel help in this journey?
No, absolutely. Thank you, Rima, for having me here. And I couldn't agree more than what Mohit spoke about. For us, Rima, there are a number of engagements that and collaboration that we do with our customers. In fact, Intel is innate and intrinsic part of any of our customers' data center journey. What Mohit spoke about is one of the ERP migrations to cloud. I still remember we were affiliated with Mahindra since 2010 when the Project Harmony was the first one where they integrated all 45 organizations on one single platform of SAP. From then till their journey on SAP to cloud, all along we get associated with all of our large customers. Essentially, if you ask me, a cloud journey could be divided into 4 critical steps or parts that I believe. One, obviously, is your application assessment or workload characterization, what we call. Second is the workload placement piece. Third is how do we keep on optimizing the cloud? And the fourth critical piece is there are also certain cases of repatriation where people come back from cloud, specific reasons where what Mohit mentioned about. Now, what we do across all those 4 stages is, and the first one is on workload characterization. It purely depends on what is the kind of application that you're using. Is it a lift shift application, cloud native application, legacy application which requires code changes? Plus, there could be business requirements around in terms of agility, time to market, product or service differential. Technical requirement, as Mohit spoke about, could be centralized security, high performance, lower latency. It could be business insight. Plus, there are a lot of other dependency on CSP, SaaS, etc. We've got several tools that we work with our customers in terms of defining what are the characteristics, which are the workloads that they should prioritize to move to cloud. The second piece is once you move to cloud, how do you figure out saying what is the best instances that work? Today, if you look at the cloud, there are like thousands of instances which are available for customers with very similar description. It becomes very difficult. We've seen customers who spend couple of quarters just to identify what kind of instance that they want to go with. What Intel does is we've got certain migration tools, Intel Migration Advisor tools generated by Cloud Genera, which really helps in terms of defining which are the best instances work on those particular workloads. Now, what we have done is we've got documented pricing, security, performance for all this workloads which are there for instances, and then we try and correlate with the existing workload. Similarly, we got few more tools like say Intel Cloud Optimizer by Densify, which figures out saying what is the kind of resource which is required for the workload so that your workload gets the most precious resource in terms of running them. And then there is also a cost factor which is there to figure out which is the most optimum cost benefited instance which is there. And the fourth one which is there is your Intel Workload Optimizer. There's a company called Granulate which has been taken by Intel, and what it does is there's an AI based automated optimization which happens on that particular software. So what it essentially does is gives you a very high performance, lower latency on those instances. Essentially, it sits within an instance, agentless stuff, no coding required, and it increases your performances to as large as 60%, and cost saving is as greater as anywhere from 0 to 35 to 40% depending on the workload. Now, imagine any of the cloud native organization or even the regular enterprise who got thousands of instances on cloud, the kind of saving that we are talking is enormous. And the last step is the repatriation part. What Mohit said, at times what we do is a lot of companies over provision, which really shoots up the budget and probably, it is out of their control. Or it could be under provision, which really creates a lot of performance issues, workload performance issues there. And that is where few of the organizations also come back to the on-prem infrastructure piece. That is where we work very closely with them in terms of sizing the requirement, doing performance benchmarking, getting them optimized bill of material. So essentially, end-to-end 360-degree relationship that we have with our customer for any of their cloud journey or on-prem infra journey.
Fantastic. I want to move on to the next topic, that's Industry 4.0. Globally, manufacturing is moving towards this new paradigm of Industry 4.0, which incorporates all these next generation things, whether it's automation, big data, IIoT. how is it for Mahindra, right? You're in an old school business. Your plants have been set up decades back. What was the transition like? Because you've been ahead of the curve when it comes to adopting new age technologies. Talk about Mahindra's Industry 4.0 journey.
Thank you. I think I see three big unlocks for Industry 4.0, which have happened only in the last 6 to 8 years. One is computer vision. Can you imagine that 6 years ago, a camera cannot distinguish a cat from a dog, right? And see how AI has transformed in the last 4 years, 5 years. Your phone can identify your friends, the beach you are at, or the vacation you are taking. It knows everything. So many of those unlocks only have happened in the last 4 or 5 years. So 20 years ago, people wouldn't have been doing what you could do in the last 4 or 5 years. Second is around IoT, where pretty much you can connect any part of your manufacturing environment onto the network, right? That's a big unlock. And third probably is 5G, which is coming, very soon to the market, if not already here, where with 5G, high-speed inference of what you see and hence what decision you take is very much doable. For us at the Mahindra Group, we've been on this for the last 3 years, ever since all of this became affordable and available. Some examples which come to my mind, in automobiles, we are able to now use computer vision to look at any paint defects in a finished car, right? So let's say there are thousands of finished cars getting finished every day. Earlier, you had to do manual inspection of these cars using a magnifying glass, no other way. Now with computer vision, high definition cameras, 60, 80 of them, are able to take high definition pictures and inference and detect if there's a paint blemish or a spot or a scratch. That's one example. Similarly, in farming, we are able to automate and make the farmer more productive so that he can get more income from the farm or the land. By putting IoT in the soil, it can detect moisture in the soil, tell you where to drip irrigate, where to flood irrigate, how much water to put. That's another example. Also in our Mahindra holiday resorts, we're able to predict cancellation so that our members get the best booking. In our solar energy business called Sustain, we are able to predict now how much gigawatt or megawatt power will be generated by solar panels. So to me, Industry 4.0 is all about the power of compute, the power of machine learning and AI, meeting the power of hardware of IoT, 5G and cameras. And the endless examples in automotive equally. In manufacturing, we're doing a lot of work on designing factory twins so that our manufacturing as well as our supply chain is better optimized, so that what you are booking as an automobile is what we are making as automobile, is what we are buying to make as automobile. And all of this, it's almost like ordering a pizza, where you order a pizza and you can see the pizza getting made and getting delivered. So how do we have end-to-end transparency for the customer? So that's our Industry 4.0 example. Recently, we've also launched in real estate, amazing experience on metaverse. You and I bought apartments, I'm sure, to live. And in such case, normally if you're trying to buy an apartment on 22nd floor, you only see a model house which is normally on the ground floor. Nobody can imagine what would the scenery be on 22nd. We made that available. So we've launched this inventory called Citadel in Pune, where you could very well get into the metaverse and go up to 22nd floor and look down, and it shows a hyper-real view of how your apartment would look, how everything around will look, including birds flying and the greenery, and the railway line could be anything for that matter. Similarly for automotive as well, that we launched in January this year, XUV for doing test drive of a 400, yes.
I remember reading about this. Yeah.
So lots of this is only possible in the last 2-3 years. So for us, it's not a catch-up game anymore. It's about leading the industry. In many ways, many of these are industry first. This 22nd floor thing of buying apartment, I haven't heard anyone offering me when I bought my apartment many years ago, the option to go look up on how it would look. So amazing. I mean, the potential is amazing. So Industry 4.0 has worked for us across the industries we are in. And we're just getting started in many ways.
Vikram, how is Intel helping companies reach that potential, right? As Mohit pointed out, it's the convergence of so many technologies, AI, 5G, big data, industrial IoT. Talk about Intel's support in this.
No, absolutely. I think Mohit picked up a couple of very relevant points. Specifically on Industry 4.0, the proliferation that we've seen, I think a lot of large organizations like Mahindra are actually taking benefits of 4.0, maybe in terms of sensors, in terms of connected devices, IoT devices, smart cameras, robotics, advanced analytics, and AI he spoke about. And obviously, it is also giving benefits in terms of your product quality. He spoke about the paint part, or it could be in terms of innovation, efficiency, and the
Consumer
last
experience.
experience, absolutely. And last but not the least, high profitability doing all these things. While we talk about industry 4.0, there's also a changing paradigm for 5.0. And as we see, I think there'll be a lot of emphasis which would happen not only on customer experience, but your employee experience as well, where there will be a lot of emphasis on collaboration between machines and humans. And essentially, machines would really help humans to do their work better and faster. So it is going to be an era of personalization. 4.0 was more about efficiency and automation. 5.0 will get that human touch. How do both of them collaborate? But while we talk about, and then 6.0 talks about nanotechnology and your quantum compute. But while we talk about 4.0, I think larger organizations have embraced that journey, but we still see a lot of organizations who are still grappling with challenges on 4.0, or they haven't implemented it. And there are a number of reasons and challenges. It could be because of legacy system, it could be siloed data, or it could be disparate data sources which are there, which are completely heterogeneous. And it becomes very difficult while there are so many sources which are there for data, but there's no single one pane of view where you are able to make sense out of the data. And that is where I think we strongly believe digital twin is a solution which Intel is working on. Today, if you look at digital twin, is nothing but digital replica, or what we call virtual representation of your real world asset, systems, or any of the representation which is there, again based on the real world data. Today, what your digital twins are able to do is are able to give a deeper view and analysis of that particular model which is there. Now, which also helps you in terms of not only finding out as a digital replica, but also gives you an ability to simulate change and see how does it gets predicted in your virtual realm. Now, what Intel has specifically done is these are all three-dimensional digital twin. We have added the fourth dimension, which is time, or what we call spatial dimension. Now we have got a platform, Intel platform called SceneSense. I know it is a little tongue twister. What it essentially does, it captures all the data from this heterogeneous sources and try and develops a 4D model, digital twin model based on AI algorithm. Now this is also aptly supported by two software, what we call Intel Distributed OpenVINO, which is your visual inference and neural network optimization platform, which really helps to build all those deep learning models. And then we've got one more platform called Intel Yeti, which really tries and brings up this model much more faster. Requires little lesser data. For example, if it is camera, it requires only 20-30 frames to build up this model. So with amalgamation and combination of all these three data, we are able to come out with 4D digital twin, which will be able to give you very, very realistic pictures, digital pictures of what you can do in factory. Like what Mohit spoke about, there are a lot of use cases. In fact, we at Intel, we have got Intel AFS, which is Automated Factory Solution, which is nothing but a suite of digital twins, which really replicates what is there in your factory, right from your material handling to your machines to your workflow. And you can actually look at those, also figure out saying what could be the possible predictability, make those optimized and changes. So what was not possible, for example, if I had to put it in auto perspective, today you have an ability to make a digital twin of a car model, make those changes rather than experimenting physically on that model, and it becomes much more cost effective and very, very fast. So probably your turnaround time for a product development is like increases tremendously, and you are able to like reduce it by half or maybe even much better percentages.
Interesting. Let me move on now to the third topic. And that's the next evolution in automotive, right? ADAS and SDV, software-defined vehicles and advanced driver assistance systems. That's now the center of manufacturing, right, for automotive, Mohit?
Absolutely. I think we've been on this journey for, I would say, around 10 years. Would sound surprising to our viewers. Mahindra has a racing team called Mahindra Racing, which is a Formula E electric car racing. If you look at electric cars, and we've been running that team for the last 10 years, based in UK. If you look at electric cars, they are a large data emitters. You have so much data around the race on how much to charge, how fast to drive. In real time, you're telling the driver how fast to go, because if you go too fast, you lose energy. If you go too slow, you lose the race. You got to figure out how to balance the two. From that, getting all this technology into passenger cars. So the 700, which was launched over 2 years ago, which I drive, which incidentally also has Intel technology, and I'll let Vikram talk about it.
The one which is the longest waiting period.
Which we're making better. So I think the 700 is our start on ADAS, and it's all about safety, right? Even, and I consider myself to be a good driver. Even with my driving ability, the car brakes first before I brake. In case there is somebody suddenly crossing the road. Let's say you're going on a busy street and you're near the divider and somebody just decides to cross. Normally we look at the person and then brake. The car brakes before that. So the safety of people outside the car and inside the car, those features which is around detecting objects and braking in time, or even detecting fatigue of a driver while you're driving on a highway, so that you don't go to sleep and cause an accident, or to keep the lane, and many other such features which are around safety. Not just that, the ADAS also helps entertainment, communication, collaboration with other cars, and also enables over-the-air update. So if your car needs to be updated software-wise, or a new feature needs to be added, it can just be sent over the air through the internet, because it's a connected car. And each car has a SIM card and it's connected to the cloud. On SDV, I think it's very, very interesting times where automobiles, which haven't changed much in the last 100 years, the way you see originally when Ford invented the automobile. And this is the time where automobiles are changing dramatically, because with electric cars especially, you can write software which lets you hyper-personalize the car. So when you enter the car, the light inside may be different, and you may like a different aura, and your settings on the console, and the kind of music, and whatever else you want to do in the car. So that's really different from anybody else who's driving the car. His profile will get chosen. So a lot of personalization, lots of car control, lots of safety, and lots of entertainment will get opened up. And I think it's exciting times to be in the automobile business.
No, absolutely. Intel is partnered, right, on XUV 700, and we've already made so much progress, whether it's on infotainment, security, ADAS, and all the connected cars. What's next now? If you had to look into the future and predict 3 years later, 5 years later, what would the cars then have? What is Intel working with?
No, absolutely, Rima. I think what Mohit spoke about, the current time and next decade is going to completely transform automobile industry. It is as similar, we've not seen in last so many decades and years. It is very similar to the early years of automobile industry invention that has happened. And primarily, I think it will be driven by two factors. One would be obviously enhanced mobility experience, which is expected by customers. And second is demand for more eco-friendly, sustainable vehicle. And that is where your electric vehicles will really rule the roost. But essentially, what we see, the transition would be driven by the architectural shift which will happen. The current architecture, if you look, it is more fixed function, which is more closed and traditional. Now, as Mohit was mentioning, the newer architecture that you would see would be more open, which will be more consolidated, which will be more software defined and connected. And that is where we see a huge role being played by both electronics as well as software in automobile industry. They are going to be key components. Just to give you a perspective, I think there was a report from McKinsey which said from 2019 to 2030, the potential for the electronic and software in automobile industry is close to $465 billion and is growing at CAGR of 5.5%. During the same time, if you just look at the overall sales for both your passenger vehicle and commercial vehicle, it's going to be tepid 1%. So you can understand the potential what electronics and software is going to drive. And that is where today you would see large collaborations among automakers, tier 1 OEMs and technology partners like Intel. Today, even just to give you a perspective, today for any car, the bill of material has only a software component and a semiconductor component of 5%. In next 10 years, it is going to be larger than 15-20%. So imagine the larger role which is going to be played by software and your semiconductor guys. And that is where Intel is working very, very closely with all the automakers, all the features that Mohit spoke about, right? Whether you talk about in-vehicle experience, you now have more number of displays, higher resolution display, you have got digital instrument clusters, you got entertainment and navigation system, your gesture, voice and speech recognition, your surround cameras with parking. You talk about ADAS, whether it is for cruise control, your forward collisioning warning or blind spot detection. And we work very closely with Mahindra, as you said, for XUV 700. Even your lane warning departure, emergency braking, or even your lane assist technology, everything with ADAS. And these are all right from L1, which is an entry-level autonomous stuff, to L5, we are working very closely. Now, specifically talking about autonomous vehicles, not only the passenger vehicles, Rima, but we also think commercial vehicles are also going to hugely benefited. And I think Mohit touched upon the commercial vehicle part on the autonomous piece. What we do is at Intel, we have got our Intel onboard fleet management services. Now, this is a comprehensive fleet safety management SaaS solution, which is exclusively designed for Indian commercial vehicle. Now, what it essentially does, it really works both on the safety part and on the operational efficiency part. From safety point of view, there's an in-cabin monitoring where it does driver monitoring, whether in terms of distraction, fatigue, mobile usage, seat belt compliance. Now, because of this, it gives you 3x more reaction time in terms of any onward or forward collision which is going to be there, right? It also helps you in terms of your operational efficiency, tracking your fuel efficiency, predictive vehicle maintenance, track and trace vehicles, geofencing, etc. So I think a lot of exciting stuff which is happening on the auto industry's part, and I think we collaborate very, very closely with Mahindra for the current generation as well as the future generation of cars which are there. But very exciting times ahead in automobile industry, specifically with semiconductor and software.
Absolutely. You know, I was reading that I think in cars, startups are working on even having video games. So when the driver is idle, or eventually we'll move to autonomous driverless cars, and then even the driver, passengers can all be playing, you know, video games of your choice. Okay.
Better on the rear seat, probably.
Rear seat
I hope so.
intelligence.
But let's talk about generative AI, right? That's been the buzzword for enterprises and even like consumers like me. How is Mahindra, you know, as a group incorporating Gen AI across its various businesses?
So for us at the Mahindra Group, artificial intelligence and machine learning, I would say this decade was or is for AI. It has got even more accelerated by Gen AI. On generative AI, I think its capability in the large language model is closest to what human beings can do. And hence we've taken an early bet on it. So we started as early as February this year when the GPT 3.5 and early models were available to work on something called Mahindra AI,
Okay.
which is a internal Mahindra AI platform. With three,
So you all have your own LLM?
we don't have our own LLM. We have a model garden
Okay.
where different LLMs can be used,
Okay.
including Falcon and Bard and a couple other.
Got it.
They can be used. There are three areas for us to have made Mahindra AI the way we made it. One is that lots of data we want to put in the system should not get leaked out, right? Also similarly on copyright infringement. Second, on hallucination, we've heard about how models can hallucinate, so how do we control that? And third, give access to all our employees who need to use. It's come out very well, where we've been able to offer Mahindra AI, and the use cases which we're seeing most prominent and successful ones are around customer service, on analytics, on technical problem solving, on software development, of course, on coder productivity, and even sales and marketing. So let me give you an example on the call center. The whole idea is a co-pilot where our call center associates can get more power to address customer queries by looking at a summary. Let's say they've called 3 times and you have the call log. Rather than reading the whole log, you can use Gen AI to do a summary in 3 lines, or what to offer to the customer in real time. So this has opened up new service quality and the ability to service the customers much better in the time period they have. Similarly, we see in design and sales and marketing of content, being able to write social media, tweets or Facebook, etc. The possibility is there as well. Very interesting use cases within engineering and manufacturing and technology. You can imagine we have large assembly lines, lots of machines which have been there 10 years. Each one of them come with their own manual, right? And in case you see an error code, let's say machine getting overheated and there's an error code there. Now, in the middle of the night, either the operator knows what to do, or he or she has to call somebody to know what to do.
Correct.
Or he or she has the option to look at the manual while the machine is going to break down, etc. What we've been able to do is take all the last 8-10 years of error logs and what was done to solve the error, put in all the machine manuals into Mahindra AI, and give the power to the shop floor assistant where she can call. She doesn't need to call anyone. She can just query to say what are the last 2-3 times, how was this solved? And in a simple English, that's the power of LLM, that you can ask, in a very simple way, I am seeing error code 31 and the machine is making some sound, what do I do? Right. And it can ask you, where are you standing, which machine are you talking about, what do you see on the machine, what are the other parameters, you can feed that in. Then you say likely, this valve needs to get open or whatever. So lots of these use cases, which are very technical in nature, have become really easier to do. And we are just getting started. It's been 5-6 months now, and the model tuning and the training data corpus is all ready. And we see a large amount of people internally using the Mahindra AI platform quite successfully in being able to address the queries of customers better. And in design and many other areas, we're just getting started. That how do we use in car design? I think Vikram talked about it a bit. How do you use Gen AI in design of the car? And how do you use Gen AI inside the car as well, right? I mean, you can think of very simple examples saying, hey, I'm driving to Pune, where can I have lunch? The model should be able to ask you to say, what kind of food do you like, right? How many people, where do you need coffee along with lunch? And then it can tell you the best place to go. So lots of those things will make the driving experience even more interesting, complementing the ADAS and the other things we spoke about earlier. So Gen AI is very, very powerful. And at the Mahindra Group, we're going all in and leveraging it in various parts of the company.
Vikram, Gen AI is about 1 year old, right? Would you say right now most of the efforts, because it's new, have been towards using it as a productivity tool, whether it's servicing customer queries, etc. Can you talk about generative AI driving innovation and growth, the top line of a company, and how would that play out, say for a company like Mahindra?
No, absolutely. I think, as we were talking last time, there's no discussion which either starts or ends without Gen AI. And as I was saying last time, probably if you might be following, 14 December was when our CEO announced in New York, there are a couple of very exciting products, right? One is AI PC, which is going to completely transform the PC industry, right? It is going to be first PC where you're able to do AI inferences on edge rather than processing on cloud. The second one which we had was our 4th Gen Xeon platform, which is there, which does a lot of AI workloads in form of NLP or image recognition, etc., which could be done on the server platform itself rather than using GPUs. And third major announcement was our Intel Gaudi 3, which is follow-up of Intel Gaudi 2 AI accelerators, right? And Gaudi 2 has been a roaring success for us. There are very rave reviews in terms of MLPerf, where the performance, specifically price performance factor, your performance per wattage, etc., has been outstanding and extraordinary. So I think there are a lot of models that we have built, including ChatGPT 3.5 with 175 billion parameters running successfully also on Gaudi 2. So I think these are the products and exciting timelines for us, right from edge till cloud. We have completely covered on AI everywhere as our motto. So as we move forward, and as Mohit mentioned, I think there are 2 or 3 areas where we see generative AI is going to play a huge role. First of all is going to be on autonomous vehicle. I mean, Mobileye being one of the sister concerns for Intel and very working closely with Mahindra. There are so many models that you need to train for that autonomous vehicle, and now with generative AI, that task is going to get much more simpler, right? It is able to now, based on the synthetic data, generate models much more easily using generative AI. Earlier, which used to take millions of iteration, now could be reduced substantially. That could be one use case. The other use case is what Mohit spoke about, could be across in terms of predictive vehicle maintenance. It could be in terms of vehicle informant, where you can really do chatting which happens within the car, but instead of that inference happening on cloud, that inference now can be done on edge. Plus, there are a number of use cases that we could do with AI inference. I think scopes are too huge. In fact, there could be also an amalgamation or integration of digital twin as well as generative AI, and it could give us very, very promising and potential use cases in near future. But I think we are all with AI everywhere as a motto, and very, very exciting solutions and technology that Intel is leading with AI and generative AI.
On those words, AI everywhere, we're going to thank Vikram and Mohit for joining us today. And as we conclude this illuminating discussion between Mahindra and Intel, we ventured into a realm where AI, security, and cloud converge to define the future of innovation. We'll be back with more on Intel, Xeon, and Moneycontrol present Envisioning the Future with AI, Security, and Cloud United. Thank you very much for watching.
Intel Xeon and Moneycontrol present Envisioning the Future with AI, Security, and Cloud United. Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.